Read through the word. Today is June 6th, and today's lesson is called Life Under the Sun. We are in Ecclesiastes, and so we have been all in the books of Solomon this week. We've been in Proverbs, we've been in Song of Solomon, and now we're in Ecclesiastes. And we're gonna take a look at one little phrase right here. So I am in Ecclesiastes 1:9. It says, history merely repeats itself. It all has been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. The whole theme of this book is really in verse 2, where it says, and I think I put it in, the NLT says everything is meaningless. The ESV, which y'all know I love ESV, ESV says, vanity, vanity, all is vanity. Where, remember when we talked the other day about Song of Solomon, how that was probably written early in Solomon's life before he went the whole let's get 1,000 women route? Where Ecclesiastes is where he's finally figured out all the women, all the horses, all the stuff, all the power, everything is really meaningless. If I don't get this right, what have I done? It is that whole idea. But the way that Solomon does it in this book is talks about life under the sun. He keeps talking about life under the sun, life under the sun. Now, I think I talked about this a few years ago. And I talked about looking at life versus under the sun, looking at life under the sun versus under the heavens. And I have come to really like this term. Looking at life under the sun or above the sun. I really like that one. So when you look at life, have you ever thought, what's the point? What's the point of stuff? My school, we just had our high school graduation. And I love this about my head of school. I love so many things about my head of school. I have fantastic administration at my school. Fantastic teachers. I love my school. I love my school. That's why I am investing in a master's, because I'm going to be there for a long time. And I really believe in what we're doing. But my head of school will constantly say, and he does this with every orientation we have, every open house we have, every opportunity. Even we gave out academic awards the other week. At graduation, he talks about success and what success looks like. And the point of life. And he says, success as defined by God is obedience to his word. Obedience to God is success. And he says that, and he gives, now he's a math guy, and he gives all the statistics on how many students will actually, I loved this one that it was less than 40% of students that actually go into college will actually graduate with the degree they thought they were going in with. And everybody laughed because, I myself changed my major 4 times in college and still ended up not doing what my major was. And it is, and looking at how many people will go to college on a scholarship, academic or athletic, how many people actually play professional sports, how many people. So he talks about these statistics and he says, here's the point. 100% of every person 100% of people in this room, parents, students, visitors, teachers, everyone, will stand before God one day. And that's what we need to be preparing for. Not life under the sun, but life above the sun. And so, Ecclesiastes is the book that wrestles with that question. Is there anything new under the sun? The under the sun appears 30 times in the book of Ecclesiastes. It's the key to the author's perspective on life. Under the sun actually means life on earth. Especially life from a purely human earthly perspective. It actually, so under the sun excludes God's eternal heavenly view. So above the sun. It's life seen from the ground up, not from heaven down. And it represents under the sun, blinders on. Limited viewpoint. Limited viewpoint. What can be observed with the eyes, felt with the senses, and reasoned by human wisdom. And so, life under the sun. What does the teacher in Ecclesiastes, not me, what does he say is, what does the teacher observe about life under the sun? These things. Futility of work. All is vanity and striving after the wind, and there's nothing to be gained under the sun. Ecclesiastes 2:11. Hard work brings no lasting satisfaction if viewed apart from God. Once you've lived long enough, this next one really hits you. Cycles and repetition. Over and over and over. Ecclesiastes 1:9. This is there's nothing new under the sun. History seems to repeat. It's like being on the treadmill. And I love my treadmill. But without lasting progress, it's always going and going and never getting anywhere. There's this idea of injustice and death. Ecclesiastes 3:16 and 9:3. That under the sun, you know what? Under the sun, this is what I see. The righteous suffer and everyone dies, whether they're wise or foolish. What's the point? Life seems unfair and short when we look like this. But that's looking under the sun. We got to go above the sun. We have to look at eternal perspective. So he's not being cynical. He's showing that life is empty without God. Work is just work. You know what? You retire, and the next week, no one knows your name. You invest. Try to tell this to my students, and they don't believe me. And it's a hard truth to learn when you're in high school. But 98% of the people you graduate, I love statistics. Not teaching it, but I love numbers. 98% of the people you graduate with, you will never see again in your life. Even in a small school. So our graduating class was 16 this year. That's our last small year. Or 17. 16 or 17. From now on, we're at 40 something or more. But it is very interesting to see that if I think my life is all about these people who a year from now, 10 years from now, won't even know my name, and I forget about life from God's perspective. I forget about investing in that will last forever. I've missed the point. Here's what life looks like with God. This is what he's saying. This is what life looks like without God. Don't you want more than that? And he goes on to, in Ecclesiastes 12:13 says, fear God and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. So this idea, as believers in Christ Jesus, here we stand. Are we living only under the sun? Now, I'm not saying that your life here has no value. That's not true, or you wouldn't be here. God has made you in his image. He's designed you with purpose. He works for your good and for his glory. In all things, there is purpose to everything we do. Only if we see that it has to do with God. if we're so wrapped up when everything under the sun and we miss above the sun, we've missed the whole point. And that's exactly what it took. 1,000 women, lots of stuff, and the most powerful and wisest person in the world to figure out. It's meaningless. It's worthless if I don't get it right with God. Because this idea of under the sun, under the sun, under the sun. As a teacher, this would be my literary term, would be a foil. An author usually, so if I was writing a book, I would design a foil character. A character by which I would look at, so it would give me for my protagonist to play against, for me to understand my protagonist better, I would have a foil. In a foil character. In the book of Ecclesiastes, the foil is under the sun. Under the sun acts as a foil to point us above the sun, to God's eternal perspective. It's a contrast. This is exactly what we're looking at. We want to live not under the sun. Are we pursuing success and pleasure and wisdom apart from God? Because it will ultimately be empty. Because God is inviting us to see things from above the sun, from His perspective. Because here's the truth. In Christ, we're giving identity, eternal meaning, purpose, and joy beyond what under the sun offers. Colossians 3, 1 and 2 says this: set your mind on things above the sun, not on things under the sun. Because life, no matter how long you live, it's going to feel like it just went by like that. Life is but a vapor. But life with the sun, S-O-N, brings eternal light to every shadow. So, live life above the sun and not under it. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.